Committee of the Whole meeting of September the 10th, 2025. I'd like to acknowledge that we are privileged to meet on the unceded and the ancestral territories of the Squamish and St'át'imc Nations. We have a recommendation to adopt this agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Rachel. And we have a recommendation to adopt some minutes.
That the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on June 18th, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you, Rachel, and a seconder. April, thank you so much. Any comments about the minutes? All right, seeing none, is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, those are adopted. That brings us right down to item number 4, information items, and we begin with the trustee calendar and upcoming events, and Danielle is going to present that for us.
Okay, thanks, Cynthia. So I don't think it's actually in the calendar, but today there's a blessing for the Valley Cliff childcare opening today that we've made time in everybody's schedule so that we can attend it. So it starts today at 3:30. And I think our meeting had that. Yeah, so I think we can be done here at around 3:15 and then we'll just make our way over there. And I'm just gonna ask that everyone, I think we're trying to have dinner here for 5:15, so try to leave there around 5 or earlier if you like. And they also, the District of Squamish let me know that there's very limited parking. So if we can carpool, that would be great. And I can't remember, there's a park over there. They said that they're telling people they can park there. We just walk over. It's not Valley Cliff School. Yeah. So the childcare center is just in behind there.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, so I just wanted to let everybody know about that. Any questions about that before I move on? No, okay. Next Thursday is the Squamish exempt staff barbecue, and that's at the golf course, and that's from 5:15 to 7:15. So I'm just wondering who plans on attending, if anyone's able to.
I have to work, but if I can get out early, I'll sit down.
Okay.
And I'll be there, but I might be just coming in close to 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe there's promise not to go down any else to this. Wrong end of the traffic.
Traffic.
Yeah, they're going to.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I've already.
Perfect. Great. Well, that sounds great. I'm
Is
excited
it
to
at the
see it.
golf course again?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, the golf course again. Okay, great. So that's next Thursday. And then October 1st, we have our agenda setting committee meeting. October 6th, we have our SSTA liaison meeting, which is usually with the board chair. And then October 8th is our next board meeting, which will be in Whistler. And we're also having our custodial recognition dinner that evening as well. October 20th is our DPAC meeting. I believe that's online. And October 22nd is our first round of our school learning plan meetings. So I'm not sure if everyone's had a chance to look at the schedule, but that day we have Blackwater Creek, Signal Hill, Don Ross, and St'át'imc. And I have Rebecca and Rachel down for Blackwater Creek, Signal Hill, Rebecca and Rachel. Don Ross, I have Celeste and Cynthia. St'át'imc, Lisa and Cynthia. Is everybody able to attend those?
I won't be,
No?
but I thought I had put down myself for November, and I'm not on November. So
Okay.
yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you.
It's Blackwater Creek, right?
Blackwater Creek and Signal Hill. That
I
Rachel.
don't mind stepping in for Rachel, it's just, when it's at 8:45 in Blackwater, I mean, it's a bit of a deal, but I will, if nobody else can, I will.
And just maybe we have accommodated that in the past by allowing someone who's would be driving from at an early time to zoom in.
Yeah.
So I think since you're stepping in, I would just suggest that we'd
That's
be okay
possible.
with that, yeah, so you're not leaving at
I could
7,
Zoom and.
Rachel could probably Zoom.
6:45 in the morning, so.
And I can be an option as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So do we wanna have somebody like
Say, how do we want?
go? Cause like, Melissa's closer.
I always think that
Well, Rebecca
if we
will
can be
be
in
there.
person, that's
Rebecca will be
preferable, but since someone's stepping in, I think it's the right
Have you-
accommodation to offer.
But Rachel said she probably could, you could zoom in,
Mhm.
so she's zooming, she can zoom.
Oh, great.
Well, it's
then
easy.
you're in.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, if anything
Gotcha.
changes, Rachel, if anything changes, just message me.
Okay.
Okay, you think you can zoom into both?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's sorted. Okay, lovely, thank you.
Thank you. And then October 24th is provincial council. So Melissa's our rep and it's on, yeah, October 24th from 9 to 12. Melissa, will you be able to attend that?
Yeah, Archie, are you putting all of this on our calendars?
It should be.
It should be in there?
Yeah.
What did I click no to? Yeah.
So I think registration is opening up shortly, so. And then we have October 28th is our SD 48 liaison meeting.
That's not on.
Just that one. What's not on there?
It goes from October 24th to.
Oh, sorry, that,
29th.
that must have been last year's. That,
What, 24?
oh, I'm sorry, what I meant to say is October 29th is our board education session.
Yeah.
So we have that placeholder for that.
Mhm.
And it looks like we are planning to do this, an ed session that day.
Okay.
Not attend.
Okay,
The provincial council is during BCSTA? No.
no,
No.
BCSC is in November.
Next month, you're a month ahead.
Deep breaths.
It's the end of that. Remember, it's like we go to the Christmas market.
Yes, yes, okay.
So is anyone else not able to attend the October 29th board ed session?
Not in person, but I can.
Rachel? Depending on what the board decides, we'll get into it in a minute, but we might be able to do online.
Can't even do that.
Okay, so April can't come, possibly Rachel. Anyone else?
I would not be able to make that date.
Okay. And then for truth and reconciliation ceremonies, we're working with the schools to figure out what they're doing. So once we have an updated document, we'll share them with you and then just let us know if you're able to attend any of the events and then we'll make sure that the schools are aware.
October 26th.
You don't know the dates, everyone's gonna have a different,
Okay.
probably most
It
of
won't
them
be
will
on-
be,
probably October. 26th.
probably most of them will be, but there could be some that are not fitting.
I do. Yeah, okay.
October 26th.
Okay,
The truth and reconciliation things.
Oh,
that
yeah,
happen
yeah.
At schools.
October 26th.
Back in September.
26th.
September, sorry,
Yeah.
September 26th.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. All right, any other questions about the calendar? All right, let's move on to the 2025-2026 school learning plans and employee recognition.
No, we're still on B. The work. We haven't moved to the board work plan.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of ourselves.
Board work plan, okay.
Danielle, do you want to talk to the board work plan?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go through it with any, but I just wanted to
Okay.
see if they've got, that was done in preparation and it's just the reminders and everything that's being done over the years, so. Just wanted to see if anybody thought anything was missing or any comments.
No,
The
I
work
think it's,
plan?
it's a great document to have and to take a look at every once in a while. Throughout the year, I think you can find it by like Google searching it and then it will just show up. And so, yeah, it's good to keep us on track and keep us just attuned to everything that has to be done within the year. Go ahead.
And presumably someone's ticking the boxes as we do these things, and then at the end of the year telling us if we didn't do all the things. Okay, perfect.
Mhm. Okay. Terrific. Yeah, oh, I was ahead of myself there. Okay, now we can go on to item A, which is the board engagements count.
Mhm. And that's just the full year of events and the board. So does anybody have any conflicting events or days that they need to let us know about? You can always let us know later. I just wanted to just give that to everybody and they can let us know if there's any conflicting things that they are not able to attend or.
Sure. Thank you for that. It's nice to have it in advance and then everyone can sort out their calendars and try to make as many things as you can, but understanding that things come up and it's not always possible, but it's always appreciated that we can have as many people attending as many events as possible.
Yeah, if anybody knows right now that they're not attending anything, you can let us know now as well. It's up
Like
to
right
you.
here, right now.
Like for school learning plans too?
Yep.
But
We're gonna hit school learning plans in a minute, so
Okay.
let's just pause on that one.
Okay, I cannot attend even virtually in November 12th board meeting.
Okay, I think we have that on a agenda item later,
Mhm.
don't we? Oh, okay.
I'll be
Right.
back I'll be back for the November 19th school learning plan.
Okay.
Great.
Any other conflicts? Okay. Great. And then move on.
Okay, now we'll move on to school learning plans. Chris, I see your name beside this one.
Yeah, just wanted to reiterate the gratitude from the principals to have the choice of a fall or a spring. They really appreciate that. So thank you for that. I did want to mention that you'll note in the schedule, you don't see staff at this point in time, because as you know, we are recruiting for a director of instruction, and depending on how that goes, we'll be able to fill that in once that's complete. We'll speak a little bit more about that in camera.
Great, thank you.
Hang on, I'm just gonna say something right here. I see that I am down for Garibaldi Highlands and maybe not the best idea.
Thanks for recognizing that. I didn't look at the schedule yet.
Yeah, I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go, like, I go to a lot of their events and then probably go to the September 26th thing, but to sit in a learning plan with KM's running it is probably not the best for her or for me or for public opinion or any of the
That's great.
things.
That's probably
Yeah,
true.
fully makes.
So maybe Celeste.
Well,
Or somebody could switch with me.
I was going to ask if I could switch April for May because I get home the night of May 5th at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So to come back to Squamish
Yeah,
might be a bit much.
but I'm with you, Melissa.
Oh, okay, well, that
Oh,
was
so I
right.
can't switch. You can take my holiday. Yeah.
I'll always
Oh,
take
right.
Garibaldi.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Somebody just switched me out of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone else seems okay. All right, if there's any more switching. Just let me as the acting chair know, or Rebecca as our actual chair, and of course Archie and Danielle. So if anything comes up, just keep the lines of communication open, and I'm sure that we can all make the accommodations for one another and ensure that there's at least 2 trustees at each of the school learning plans. And please, Chris, let the principals know that we're happy to accommodate the schedule that works the best for them, because this is an important piece of their work and it's really important to our district to ensure continued and progressive learning, and it's a great opportunity to really touch base with all of the people who are there. So let them know we're really pleased to meet and flexible to do so.
Will do, thank you.
Okay, thanks. And finally, under item B, we have point C, which is the 2025-2026 education session topics.
Yes. Okay, so thanks everybody for submitting your ideas. So we just put everything in the one document, and what we're thinking is we'd like to keep because we don't have the director of instruction yet, or whatever that position will be for Indigenous education. We're hoping to keep that session to June, like in the June session. And so we'll need to, right now we have 3 dates set aside for board education sessions. We'll need to decide what the other 2 will be. And so I'm hoping today we can decide what the one for, what the next 2 will be, because the October is approaching quickly. So just start planning for that. So the ideas are there, and I'm just leaving it open for the board to discuss what they would like to prioritize as which ones they'd like to go see.
Go ahead, Melissa.
I love the book review. I thought that that was fantastic. It's a safe place to have discussions and learn, and I think that we should do that all the time.
Do you like that? Are you suggesting that for like, the political advocacy one, or are you thinking that for the Indigenous?
I'm thinking Indigenous education sessions or just education sessions. I love the book review.
Mhm.
So maybe like.
Yeah. I think about that book often,
Me
actually.
too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So do I.
Lovely
Yeah.
conversation often.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay.
And it's also inexpensive.
That's my point too, is it's affordable. And if we don't want to buy it, then we just listen to it on Libby or Audible, whatever your platform.
And I know there was a lot of conversation about a new leadership series coming out from the BCSTA. I don't know an awful lot about it, and I tried to go onto the hub and see if I could spot the new ones, and they've revamped their website, and so I'll be honest, I didn't spend enough time trying to find them. I don't know if they're there yet or not, but I think it would be an inexpensive way to conduct an ed session that wouldn't take a lot of time away from staff if there was.
Like something we can do on our own kind of thing.
Well, even if we met
Mhm.
and like either some people in person, some people via Zoom, and we watched it together and then just had a discussion about what is it that you saw in that learning series piece that you think is interesting.
I think that's a great idea.
And just staying up to date with what the latest information is that's being provided to us from the BCSTA. Now, I don't know when those learning series are going to be out. They did speak about it at the Canadian School Board Association's conference in the summer. So I would hope that they're coming out sooner than later. I don't know if that makes it easy for you to pick one for October. Or if there's something I could do to help search them out.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
If I may, is it named the Trustee Knowledge Series? Is that the title? Because they have posted their first one.
Oh, they
a
have.
Five-parter, and it's Indigenous education, truth and reconciliation. So it's work that we're ongoing doing, so it might be something for the board to review to determine, is this helpful? Yeah, I just went under the hub just now, and their first one under their knowledge series is this is so the BCSTA's Indigenous Education Committee developed the Trustee Knowledge Series in response to board's responsibilities under the BC Tripartite Education Agreement. So I'm not sure if that's separate from this series you're speaking of, but I don't see anything else on the hub.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of think it's different,
Okay.
but I'm not totally sure. I wonder if I could, if it would be appropriate for me maybe to reach out to someone at BCSTA and ask where they are at with that leadership series. And if it's appropriate, if they have something that's new and it's released, like sort of their latest information, I could pass that along to staff. And then if that's done sooner than later, maybe that could be our October session. I don't know if that's okay with everyone because we wouldn't really agree on it because we wouldn't know what it is.
I would wager a bet that anything offered through the BCSDA is probably not going to be a waste of time.
Thank you for that. support.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's appropriate, I'm not,
That's a.
if I'm not doing
Okay,
something
I'm
that's
good.
not, like, I don't want to do, like, I don't want to be, as they say, playing with the wrong trains or even the right trains or any trains at all.
This is this is the board's.
Okay.
We follow your lead.
Okay, I'm gonna make a to-do. I will contact BCSTA. I'll contact BCSTA. I'll find out if they have a leadership, what do they call it? A new leadership series segment released, and if so, I will let everyone know. And then if everyone's comfortable, we'll plan that for our education session, and hopefully that keeps the work to a minimum for staff.
Is this something that we need to do with staff? Like, can we do it at night, or do we need them, want them? What is,
Well, we
How
have
does
the
that work?
day, we have the day
we always
planned.
want you there, but do we?
We have
Like,
the-
for those who can't make it because of work, could it be an evening thing? Well, I guess it depends on when BCSTA is doing it,
We have,
No, it's probably- it's
or is it
probably
just on the hub?
It's probably reading, you read it
Yeah.
and then you get together and talk about it. And I don't think we need them there. I think that we are adults and we can read the material, talk about it, and everybody can be held accountable to show up.
But you
there
can
to
tell
talk
if you
about
want.
it, right?
We're happy to accept the gift of time.
Yeah,
And we're
that's
happy to be
what I'm
at
thinking.
your disposal that day if you
Well,
need any.
We can report back, like maybe at the next board meeting day, we can be like, this is what we did, blah, blah,
Yeah.
you know, but you don't need to babysit us.
I think that sounds perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we can do it in the evening if that's what works for everybody.
Okay. If that's not available, do we want to come up with a backup plan?
Let's find a book.
And
Okay.
do, we have that day booked for the other October 29th. If it's, do we want to meet?
I don't think I can make that.
I think like 3 people said they can't.
Okay,
307.
Yeah. And Rebecca's
So
not
you
here.
defer to the next.
Yeah.
like the next meeting date.
Up to you, but if you're not gonna have it full, as
Yeah.
a compliment. then
Oh,
you
for
may
that.
wanna
Oh, I see what you're
consider-
saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe do this one for our next, and we still don't know what we're doing in October?
Well, if we did, if we did a book one in October, then even if we couldn't attend the meeting, we could read the book
Yeah,
and be part of the conversation at some point.
Yes. October's coming very quickly. It's October 29th.
I don't think we need to keep this spot booked for October 29th, but we could keep the spot in our heads booked and then read a book or do the BCSTA and meet at night. Just do a Zoom call with each other at night. I don't think it works for April, but
Just-
maybe, I don't know if it does for Celeste and Rachel. Potentially.
Go ahead.
We could do like a doodle poll and find an evening that does, like, it's nice if we can all be together to do
Yeah.
it. So find another day, but like we can do, I'll make a doodle poll,
Yeah.
we can pass it around. And we'll just figure out a day, just do so, have like a reasonable amount of material to go through. So it's not so cumbersome, but enough that we will pick through some of that. Like there's just so much through the BCSTA. And maybe we can figure out a way, like I can chat with you afterwards, Cynthia, about just organizing it in a way that isn't burdensome, but let's just get it done. Let's not overthink it.
Yeah.
Let's do something meaningful together and
Perfect.
move on to the next thing.
On
But
the
cancel,
29th.
but
Pardon?
cancel.
Are we
that
talking
day.
about the 29th still?
No,
No.
he's saying she'll do a doodle.
I'll
poll.
do a doodle poll and then we figure out a day
Yeah.
and time that works.
To replace this 29th.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we'll do a BCSTA.
Something.
Something
Something.
through the BCSTA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
For October.
And we can do this ourselves. They
Yeah.
don't need to do it for
We
us.
don't need this room booked.
I agree.
No.
Okay. and-
Online.
And we'll do it, okay. and
Online's easy.
something
Yeah.
Online, okay, all right, so I feel like what I'm hearing is we don't need to book this room for the 29th. Celeste, you're happy to send out a doodle poll on a date that will work for what we'll call our first learning session.
Yes.
I will get a hold of BCSTA, find out if they have anything new released from their learning series, and if they do, maybe we could use that.
And what Rachel just suggested is do a doodle poll for the date and time and then do a doodle poll for topics and then whichever one has the highest number of hits. You
Sure.
can choose multiple, but whichever one has the highest number of hits, we go with that just to make sure that it's something that'll be captivating for the most number of people.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Do you have a timeline for that?
I will have this completed by the Sunday.
Okay,
Yeah.
by Sunday? Okay, and then, can I count on you to do the doodle poll and the tabulation, because I
Yes.
don't know how to do that?
Yes, I will do it.
Okay.
I will do all of those things.
No,
Yeah.
and then we can send out the information and take it from there.
You got it.
Okay, is everyone happy with that?
Yes.
Is anyone unhappy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, staff, are you happy with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Finally.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I
okay,
love it.
okay, great. Okay, I think that's settled, but the bad news is this meeting is over at 2:15. And I think we have a lot of things to cover in this agenda still, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, kind of. Okay, so let's take that and maybe get in touch with me like as soon as you have the results. Everyone, please don't dilly-dally on getting your results in. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for that, everyone. Lovely. Let's move on. Yes, let's move on to Chris, you have topic C, number A, policy 501, student registration, placement and enrollment. And I think when we had agenda setting, we talked about this being on the agenda simply as an update as to how enrollment policy works, because it's September, and so that's a really good time to review in case we have any people asking any questions. And of course, we've had some interesting changes with using the computers to register, and if we have schools that are too full, how are we going to deal with those situations? So lots of things that are fairly new to our policy, but not unknown. So I won't speak to it any further. And if I've misspoken, Chris, please correct me and take over.
I'll start and then Paul will jump in. So at agenda setting, and I know there was some correspondence around registration, waitlist, things like that. And the chair responded that it'd be something that we'd be chatting about here. So I included the policy just for reference, but I didn't feel this was really a policy discussion. It was more just a process conversation. So obviously we have a board policy around enrollment registration. The links within policy for the public and yourselves around what happens with waitlists, what happens with programs of choice are all clearly laid out. But just for, the first board meeting of the year, because there were some questions that came up, I thought I'd ask Paul to do just a brief overview, just reminder of how that process works and why we have the timelines that we do.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
I might be competing with a motorbike, so. Thanks, Chris. Or
Particularly
lawn weed whacker, yeah. Okay, so there are lots of layers to this. And we could talk about it, or I could talk about it for a long time, but we don't have a long time. So I'm going to try to just give a broad overview. Our enrollment policy is kind of based on a cycle that starts every January. And so it's highly tied in and aligned with our budget process. So when we start in January, February, we are building, as the board knows, a projection for the following September for student enrollment. And we tend to be, we tend to try to be on the conservative side for that. And the reason is if we overplan and overhire, that's not good for the district or for the board, because it costs unnecessarily to hire people if we don't have the enrollment to support the staffing levels. So we prepare those projections, and then we work with each of the schools on a process called alignment, which is where we determine the baseline staffing levels for each school and program. And so that's based on the projected enrollment. So once that is complete, that happens around the same time as when we open up enrollment. So kindergarten enrollment opens up in late January, early February. And once we have the preliminary numbers in from that enrollment process, then we can finalize our projections. Because their kindergarten enrollment is a big part of that process. So once that's done, we have our baseline staffing for the school. That's related to HR's first round of postings in the spring. And it's related to the number of seats we have available in each school. So then we start to fill seats in programs like French immersion. And we place children in kindergarten, coming into kindergarten in schools. And in rare cases, the board might recall a couple of years ago, Valley Cliff Elementary was quite full. And right out of the gate, we had to place some students on an in-catchment wait list because they have a finite number of classrooms at that school. This year and last year, that has eased off a little bit, and we haven't had to start the process off with an in-catchment wait list, which is great. It's that much less anxiety for families. However, going into late spring, typically we're able to clear all of the students who enroll on the web form in February, the new kindergarten students, without English wait lists. French immersion, we were able to place many of the students into French immersion. In some cases, usually every year, there are some students left who do not get placed yet because the program is full. Around the March time of year, April, March. So going into the remainder of the spring, we continue to have folks register. We have folks register into May, June. When the school district closes down for holidays in the summertime, we have an online web form that will capture summertime enrollments. So they register with that system online, and then we follow up with them when we're back in August. In some cases, elementary schools begin an in-catchment wait list sometimes in June because they filled up. And if we guarantee a spot to students enrolling in June and we're full, when the dust settles in September, we could be in a position where one or two students has caused us to have to hire a teacher. And that's very, very expensive for the board. And so we're very cautious and very conservative about how we do this. So, and every year we recognize and we tell parents up front, if they're on a in-catchment wait list for English, we acknowledge that it's not an ideal situation. We acknowledge the uncertainty, but we try to reassure them that typically by the week before school or the first day of school, we're able to make decisions about how things are going to look. And in most cases, we're able to clear those lists, but in rare cases, we may have to transfer some students to another neighboring school. This is common in cities. Students are not always able to attend their catchment school, especially if they register late. That's just the way it works in the city, in large districts and in medium-sized districts like ours. So we are not able to make decisions on clearing those wait lists because our staffing is based on our initial projections. Then what happens on the first week of school or the first day of school, we very quickly start to learn who's coming back and who's not. And so the schools are very good at quickly determining for the students who haven't shown up on the first day, what's happening. Have they moved away? Are they not coming back? And we're able to determine how many seats we have. So if we are in a position where we've hired an extra teacher early to accommodate students early to avoid wait lists, and then we have 4 or 5 families who don't come, then we're in a position where we've unnecessarily spent hundreds of thousands of dollars across the district on staffing that we, at the end of the day, don't need. So that's the big, that's the reason we have to be cautious is we're at risk of over hiring for September. So yes, it's not the best situation to be on a wait list until the first day of school, but in most cases, those are families who, if it's an English catchment wait list, it's in most cases they've enrolled sort of later than the end of May, or over the summertime. In some cases, it's French immersion, and that's a program of choice, and so that's the way it works with a program of choice. And in other cases, it's a cross-boundary wait list, which everyone knows is, you know, that's space dependent. So that essentially is, I mean, that's took some time to go through that, but in a nutshell, that's the process. And again, it ensures that we are protected from, you know, over hiring in situations where we don't need to.
Thanks for that information, Paul. It's really interesting. April, I saw your hand up, so I'll let you go ahead with the first question.
Okay. I just wanted to capture that last thing you said about in rare situations, you know, 4 families move out, or was it 4 families moved out? Yeah, it was 4 families moved out.
Example.
Yeah. I know it was an example, which is what I'm going to call on, but I just want to clarify that that's what he's like. I wanted to get the question right away before I forgot the statement, but.
So there are situations where the number of students we're expecting to arrive on day one, they don't show up. So I just used 4 or 5 families.
Right. Okay, that's what I want.
And it could be, you know, more or less.
Do we have data on that? That's what I want to know, because it seems like we go through this every year and, oh my gosh, I'm a board member. I want to be conservative and not overspend. But I hear from families, and I really heard from a significant number of families this year who were very stressed about placement, obviously for the reasons of, you know, the children, or what school am I going to go to? Who am I going to play with? All of those things. But it seemed like this year it was also about childcare, before and after school care, and where can I put my child in? So I would like to see some data on what Paul said. Does that actually happen? And if so, like, I don't want to be over conservative to the point that we're just being over conservative to be over conservative, and not because we have the data to support it, and not at the expense of these families that are really stressed for all the reasons that I remember being stressed as a parent.
Just for context, we hear from 1 or 2 families each September directly on this, despite there being many in that situation. So many families understand, we reassure them, they're in contact with the school. Sometimes there are some folks who are just more, for whatever reason, you know, worried or anxious, and they reach out, and that's fine. And we talk to them and we explain it to them, and in most cases that solves it. In rarer cases, it doesn't, and the communication continues. So I think I would say, just from my experiences of being a principal, and this has been practiced for many years, and it's practiced most everywhere, in most every district. From the majority of families, while it is stressful, it's manageable, and the risk for us financially is fairly significant.
But going back to what you said, it's happened as long as I can remember, many, many years. It's happened, and inevitably a school, like most often it was the school I was in, got the extra division almost every year. That's what I'm saying. I would like to see, if we don't already have the data, we must be able to create it so that we have a position to say, look, you know, like, this is what's happened in all these years. We you know, our enrollment in this particular school, we projected this, but, you know, the enrollment grew and it did over years. Like, I don't want to just, as a board member, I don't like the idea of just basing it on fear. If it never happened, even though I understand the being conservative and not wanting to spend too much money, but do we have a record of it? Because honestly, this year you only heard from a couple. I heard from several over the summer who moved into the community and were reaching out because they couldn't get into their catchment school. Right. And I, you know
But
what?
they- Yeah.
Yeah. And I know all the
Just-
things
just
to
to
say as a
clarify-
trustee. I know all the things
Just
to
to
say,
clarify,
but
they all did.
yeah,
They all did get it over
But a
school.
lot of anxiety.
Yep.
And I get it. I was a parent too.
Right. So I'll just jump in to say, we have policy. We reviewed the policy January 2024 and it was approved. So respectfully, if there is the will of the board to open it up again, that's something you have within your policy. If you want to call that extenuating circumstance, we can do that. And that would be the forum for that. And then we'll be prepared to provide all the rationale and reasons. I can tell you that again, the staff spend hours and hours in meetings around, are we going to open this division or not? Which is why we follow up with our families. And yes, in lots of cases, families say, I've changed my mind. I actually don't want to move to that school after all because of X, Y, or Z. And when you made the mention of those kids coming in the summer, again, full respect to all families for their circumstance. This is not in any way anything negative towards them, but because of the unknowns over the summer, for example, that's one of the reasons why we don't make the early decisions, because you can't overcommit to saying yes to other out of catchment area kids if there may be new kids that come in over the summer. So the policy in place, I know it provides lots of anxiety for folks, and again, acknowledge and recognize that. And it's the system that has worked and does work across districts. Now, again, if we revisit the policy, what some districts do is they end it in March, and then you're out of luck. And that's the way they deal with this, is by March or April, everything is set. Anybody after March, they get sent to the school that has space. We don't do that here because we feel we're nimble enough to actually offer more opportunities to be in a catchment area school. And that does come with a little bit of anxiety, but our practice has been to go on that side of ensuring most access to in-catchment schools, then cut it off early. And then we just say, sorry, you missed. So there are many districts in BC who end their registration and cross boundaries at the end of March. And then they have to wait until the first week of school by the School Act. That's okay. Now there's room in the school. Now, you can go.
Right.
So we feel that we do this the best we can to lessen the anxiety.
And what's not seen is the compassionate conversations that are happening behind the scenes. I think that we can do a lot as elected people to promote resiliency in the community broadly, not by assuring people that we can give them what they want, but by, referring them on to the professionals who do this compassionate communication, having compassionate communications ourselves, listening to people's concerns. But I think that we don't need to make every single problem go away, because often, opportunities present themselves with letting just a little bit of time pass. The one thing that I wanted to say is, even if we did collect the data, it couldn't, I don't think that there's any data from the past that can really tell us what next year will bring, because next year, eventually we're going to have a year where the pressures, or we could come to the point where the pressures are so much that several people don't get the placement that they're looking for. And that is just the circumstance, the 100 variables that go into creating that particular circumstance, and we deal with it in the moment. But I was going to say something else and it's just gone. But I really do think that like when you have people coming to you with these anxious feelings, we can help them build resiliency and reassure them, given the discussion we've had today and what we've learned about how placement works. I do think that this system is doing the very best that it can to place people.
And like I said, while I was talking, I think this year I heard for the first time, this whole concern, like I think childcare is the bigger concern here. And I think that's why the anxiety levels were higher, because a lot of these, situations, the parents are both working. Now you want to get your child in a childcare that's close to the homeschool. If they don't know where their homeschool is, now they don't know where their childcare is. I really think the bigger issue, because it seems to have really elevated, at least for me as a trustee this year. And in most cases, it was in reference to childcare. And, we read the article, we saw how we are not even close to meeting the needs of childcare. And so until we hit that, I think we're going to keep getting this, and it's probably going to intensify. I
April,
think.
thank you for that. I think that's a good way to actually wind up this conversation. Just if I can just say we've like run out of time for this meeting. We do go into our in-camera meeting next, but we also have to finish that on time because we have the visit to the blessing of the school. So quickly, if we could wind it up.
Really quick, our fiduciary responsibility with the finances, we cannot make anybody promises because that one student could cost the dish. So that was the thing that I forgot to say. That fiduciary responsibility trumps everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like you say, like the childcare seems to potentially be the bigger source of this problem. So again, advocacy
Yes.
to fund childcare and they've decided that the ministries will merge, and so there you have it. You have to advocate also for these childcare positions to be, and we can't expect that to come out of operations somehow and out of people's time somehow. Paul, thank you very much for that update. It was really clear. I think that really helps give us and the public a really good understanding of how the process works and the thoughtfulness in which the policy was developed and is implemented. So
Yeah, and you're welcome. And just to reiterate, staff are very much aware of and consider, that stress in families, and we talk about it at every meeting we have about this topic. So just, we want people to know that we hear you, and we do our best to make timely decisions.
great. Thank you. Thanks so much. We have 2 items. I know what I'm speaking to can be spoke about quickly. Danielle, is everyone okay if we just will have like a little friendly motion to just take like, let's say 5 more minutes to finish up? Everyone's okay? Okay, terrific. And then we'll be like good, stick to the schedule next meeting. Danielle, if you want to speak to the BCSTA motion guide.
Thank you. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the provincial council is coming up. And so I just wanted to check in if anybody had any motions they would like to put forward. We checked, we can't find a deadline for it, but last year the deadline was September 20th. So these are supposed to be only for emergent items only for provincial council. Did anyone have anything they would like to put forward for that?
And with the reminder, if we don't have things ready for provincial council, and which have to be emergent, so that's like a pretty narrow scope, yes.
I suggest and I could be, just for your consideration for the board, is not the new legislation that you just heard about. I know Focus Ed is doing their work to get us a good deal, but I think I shared at this point, there's no funding. So I suspect other districts may put that forward, especially if they're facing the financial crunch, but that could be something to consider with the point of advocacy.
With the
That's
deadline,
emergent.
with the deadline coming, that is emergent, that would meet the criteria.
Do you need a motion from us for staff to draft something and submit it on the board's behalf?
Or can we draft it ourselves?
Or they could do it.
No, I'm saying it may be that other districts are thinking of it, but it wouldn't hurt if you'd like to put a motion forward, that may be one to consider. And yes, we can certainly draft a quick.
Do you need a motion or can you just do it?
I think we need a motion for that.
No, I don't think so, because it's board work. Although it's always,
Okay, here,
Oh,
how about this?
just adequately.
I move that staff draft a, help me out, emergent resolution.
an emergent motion to provincial
Emergent.
council regarding funding of AEDs and
Naloxone.
no.
Naloxone, yeah,
And send that to the chair for,
and then send it
Mhm.
to the chair for review prior to submission, not to come back to the whole board.
we'll capture it.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then if there are several motions that are the same, like it all goes to the legislative committee first, and then the legislative committee will decide how to present that at provincial council, whether they lop it all in as one numbered motion from boards or whatever, the legislative committee will understand the best way to attach that.
What was it we were talking about earlier? And we said that should go to the VCFCA.
The asbestos removal.
Asbestos.
That's not emergent.
No.
That's,
I just can't remember
That's
what
like
it was.
bigger lobby, but I wrote down what we were discussing.
So there's a motion on the floor. Anybody? No? Go through it.
Second. Thank you.
I think we just have to wait. It's just being drafted. So I need to make sure the wording's okay first.
Okay, there's a motion if someone would like to move that.
So if you don't mind, I'm just gonna ask for it to be edited.
Sure.
So I'm just looking at examples that they have here is that BCSD urges the Ministry of Education to provide funding.
You guys are gonna write the motion. This is just the motion to ask you to write a motion. That would be written like that.
You guys have to approve this motion I'm submitting.
I think what we're trying to do is delegate authority for you to write the motion.
I don't
so
think
that
you
we
can
don't-
do that.
Okay, it's,
oh, not for motions, it's not, we're not allowed.
okay, maybe we can just write the motion right now.
Oh,
I don't know about that. So, like the board has to sit like the. Yeah. Like this motion's coming from the board.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So it has to be approved by the board.
Okay, so let's have an agenda,
We'll get it to you before the public board meeting.
an amended open meeting to address creating this motion. Okay. All right. Okay, that brings us to the last item on this agenda, and I'll cover this really quickly. It's called board engagement, which I don't know, might be like a kind of a tricky title, but it is basically what we talked about at our June meeting, I believe, was having more opportunities for trustees to be in schools. And I think what was discussed, or at some point I heard a comment to the effect of, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when parents are invited to an event, perhaps trustees could also be invited to those events, that might be an appropriate place for us to have opportunity to be in the schools a little bit more often. So when they invite the parents to a presentation of learning that's happening for the whole school, like a science fair, I don't know if science fair is any, but there's an old fashioned example. If there's a ceremony that's being celebrated and the parents are invited, perhaps that invitation can go out to the trustees as well.
If there's the bike rodeo.
All those things that parents are invited to, perhaps school board trustees could also be invited to. We could ask the principals to please extend those invitations. However, if we're going to ask the principals to extend those invitations, then we really have to make an obligation to show up to things. So before we say, yes, invite us, please invite us, ask yourself, do I have the capacity to also attend? So that's the conversation. Any other comments? Go ahead.
So I went to the open house at Don Ross last night. I knew about it just because I have kids there, but I would have gone to an open house at Don Ross or any of the other schools. I think that, you know, like we all have busy lives. We might not none of us might be able to attend, but knowing about open houses, which don't happen that often, like once a year, is different than, but I can think we might get a lot of emails if you're talking about every single event. there are a lot of events going on at the schools, but I think that annual open houses or sometimes there's fairs at the schools that might be, I don't know. I think there's probably a middle ground maybe so that we're not invited to every single thing. It'd be hundreds of events.
April?
What about if they just did a calendar of events and had an open invitation? Yeah, like a calendar of events from each school, which I'm sure they generate. It's probably on their website. And then just an open invitation. If you can attend, you can attend. If you can't, you can't. And then nobody is thinking, oh my gosh, I sent you an email and you didn't even respond, right? What about that?
Do you think that type of calendar of events is captured in the newsletters that are already sent out?
Maybe.
Are they? I think
No.
respectfully, I think that is something staff can do to remind our principals, because it is an ask that principals do include trustees, especially the local trustees. And I understand that's
received
not
nothing
happening as
from any
consistently
schools.
as I would like as well. So I'm happy to do that and suggest the idea of if they are working on a year calendar or a seasonal one, sometimes
Yeah.
things get added as projects come up. But yeah, anything we can do to support you in knowing what's happening, because there are so many lovely things happening.
So many.
On that note, I'll also share, and we've told the principals this, that we'll be having principals sign up and for presentations, either staff or student presentations at board meetings. And then they can do tradesies if they want to, because again, we know people are busy. We do the ask, but we always don't get folks coming forward, and we know how much the board and the public appreciate hearing from the schools. So we will be making that part of our practice to make sure we have those opportunities.
That sounds really great, because I think that also really helps us to hear student voice as well. And then if you could ask maybe to have, the trustees included on those, what do you call it? Calendar of
Yeah,
events,
calendar of
calendar of events. I think that would be a good way to
Send out a calendar of events. It's good. They
have
probably
a little
send
bit more
it out to the
engagement.
parents anyway.
That's what, yeah.
My recollection of this discussion was I had asked about connecting with the leadership students. So I don't know if that was a different discussion, but just our ability to have some engagement with that sort of thing.
Yeah, they're supposed to, and again, I'll take responsibility for that. Last year, we filled in on that as well, because our leadership kids are actually supposed to be presenting to the board before the new year, like either October, November, December. Here's what our plan is for the year. Here's opportunities again for the board to be engaged. And then they're also supposed to do a year end. Here's what we did as a leadership team. And we've got Indigenous leadership, we've got regular student leadership, like we've got some great stuff from the kids. And yes, I'd like to promote that too.
I think I like that. I think if we were to ask if we could join in on leadership students and go to their meetings, you might be going down a slippery slope, because then if the students from the drama club say, I want a trustee at my meeting, and the kids from the PE club want a trustee, and the kids from every club want, and then how do you
Make the effort to
equitably do that? I think it could be a dangerous place. And I also don't know if it's necessarily our place to be in that environment, but if they were to come to us at a meeting. I feel like
Potentially, I
it's-
think this is done elsewhere. Let me go and I've heard about models where there is going into the spaces that they're using is benefit there. I think there's some benefit. It's not a
Mhm.
emergency. I think it's something we shouldn't abandon though, as an idea, just keep in the back of our minds. And if an opportunity presents itself for meaningful engagement right where they're doing their thing,
Mhm.
that's not a bad idea.
Kind of like being in community rather than,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
we can pursue that.
Keep us abreast of. Keep it rolling.
Great.
Yeah, keep us abreast of what you discover on that. And in the meantime, I think it's a step forward to be invited to more of the events that are happening, that are similar to the events that the parents are being invited to. And that calendar of events is fantastic. So hopefully that's a quick and meaningful discussion on board engagement. And we can ask if there's any clarification, questions of clarification from the public.
No, there's not.
Nothing? Okay, then I will call this meeting adjourned at 2:29 PM. So now we are a little bit behind schedule. So if everyone can quickly log out and log into the next meetings, that would be fantastic. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't
Oh, yeah,
log in.
that's right.
5-minute
No-
break?
No need. to-
Agreed.
Yeah.